Hi everyone, I'm Tam, and we are back with another my experiences. Communication. I guess the more I kind of like meet and kind of connect to different walks of life, the more important I understand how the value of communication and the role of communication itself has a American, no, pretty much. I'm a American citizen now. I kind of take for granted that English is the kind of like language. So when I travel like abroad and so on, I try like speak with people in English, and it's kind of like a language I take for granted. Kind of just how it is. But obviously not the case abroad because there's different languages like Vietnamese, Polish, Dutch, and so on. So communication becomes way more vital in those places. Literally, because sometimes you just can't bridge the gap because the language barrier is just so hard. Thankfully now we have like Google Translate. So to take the pressure off of pretty much being a goofball and a clown trying to like play charades. So the thing I'm looking for looks like this. And it kind of big. It seems saying like reverting back to our uh, communication heritage with physical movements. The very first communication probably was kind of physical, like who like this, something like that. So to kind of express the idea of what you just saw and experienced. And similarly, like communication, the more you communicate, the kind of happier you are. Like I've never seen more communication kind of fail. More communication usually leads to more happiness, assuming you also like kind of listen to the other person, which is an inherent part of communication. Well, one-sided communication is really just a monologue. You're just talking to like the ether, the air. Astral communication is like a dialogue. Like, okay, you have something to say. Okay, I kind of understood that. The other part you said didn't really process in my head. Let's try this again. So for this part, can you tell me more like what that means? Like what actually means from your perspective? Oh no, I kind of see it. So see the same thing. The point of communication is you kind of like bridge the gap, the mental gap between you and somebody else, because they have something in here, and it may be hard for them to explain to you, for various different reasons. Perhaps the language is just hard. They don't have the vocabulary for it because they're first generation immigrants, so they kind of learning. They're still learning the new language of your land, and it's kind of hard for them to explain it that way. Like language barriers could be like trauma. Like for example, you, like when you go to school and I guess your teacher hits your hand each time you say like a cuss word or something. So now you each time you try to say each time you think of a cuss word like fucking like shit and so on, or something like very close to that, you kind of like twitch up a little bit, like PTSD kind of not to downplay PTSD, but similar line like effect, similar thing happening physiologically, physiology physiology wise, so there's another like barrier towards communication and your own experiences, perhaps you never been like perhaps you never seen somebody eat the organs of an animal. You never seen like a dish with like the head of the chicken inside of it, because you pretty much been eating mostly processed food or whatever most of your life, like white bread, peanut butter and jelly, and chicken breast. You never actually seen the head of a chicken or the feet of a chicken inside of a soup and so on. So it's kind of weird, So you can't really describe that at the moment yet. So many different barriers to communication, within yourself and also between people as well, because sometimes the way you say things can also affect that as well, like your intention, your emotions behind it, and so on may actually be louder than actually the message you try to deliver. And the other person may also have issues too, like perhaps that their hearing is gone. So there's many like different obstacles that kind of can hinder communication. Like perhaps something, perhaps a traumatic experience within yourself, perhaps the way you say it, or the kind of vocabulary is not really doing justice to the message that you're trying to deliver. Perhaps the other person is like starting to have some hearing impairments, becoming more deaf as they get older, or they kind of like not really listening to you right now because they're trying to like drive a car or something, so they're also trying to do something else at the same time, so you see what I'm saying. There's many different like hurdles to overcome to actually make a communication work, so more communication usually more communication does not really fail you if you approach this kind of properly, like did this person understand what I just said? Like, making sure this person understood exactly what I just did and said. And like, in my experience, usually most of the issue is around that because you don't really understand what the person just said or what the person is trying to do. Perhaps you are a first generation immigrant family, and your mother is being very hard on you to push you to college, push you to all these things, and you're just a kid trying to like live. So from your perspective, she's like an evil meanie, and from her perspective, she's trying to like make sure you don't like fuck yourself over pretty much, and become homeless and so on because you don't have any real skill to survive this world of a harsh economy, harsh you know living standards and so on. So communication is the bridge between you and your mother in that scenario to so that you understand. Okay, I get it. I completely understand why she's doing this. However, I don't exactly agree with the way she's doing it. So let me propose something else. Instead of like holding a grudge, like you meanie like a bitch, whatever. You psychopathic person is that. So instead of like keeping all that to yourself and pretty much defaulting back to a monologue between your own kind of thoughts, like is this meanie like a person doing all these things to me, like the you versus them, the why me, the victim kind of mentality. The victim mentality is pretty much just a kind of like a kind of inner monologue, because pretty much everyone else is suffering too, not just like you, dude. So like it's kind of what it is. Communication, more communication helps you see the other person's side more clearly, so you don't make a mistake and do something you kind of regret, or hold onto like a grudge for several years, and then you kind of realize, oh well, I could have just talked it through, or something to that kind of effect.